I'm here with Dr. Beer, who is a retired chemistry professor, a home brewer since 1997, a certified beer judge since 2000, and a current speaker for the American Chemical Society on the chemistry of beer. And we are here to talk about winter warmers or holiday beers. So, what is a winter warmer?
Well, a winter warmer is a beer that's meant to be sipped by a fire in the middle of winter. Generally, they are stronger and maltier and sometimes spiced, sometimes not.
Okay, so meant for snuggling up next to a fire and all that good stuff. So what are we looking for in a good winter warmer or Christmas beer?
Well, first of all, they are usually a little bit on the dark side because they have a lot of flavors that are like toast or caramel or raisins or other fruits. Even if those fruits hadn't been added, they're usually a little bit fruity.
Okay.
And that's why most of them are ales.
The last question before we start trying the beers is it appropriate to age a Christmas beer or winter warmer?
Generally, since they're stronger alcohol, they can be aged. If they're spiced, the levels of spice will drop out. They won't be as strong flavored as they would be otherwise, but otherwise you can age them for a year easily. And we have a couple here that are 1 year old from last winter. Well, the first one is a good Cincinnati beer, Dad Hoppy Holiday Ale. So this is probably a little outside the range of most winter warmers. It's promising to be hoppy, but sometimes winter beers do have evergreen flavors from them, sometimes from evergreen greenery being added to them, such as Anchor's Christmas Ale. They add a different evergreen every year. They've done this for 40 years now. Oh. And this year is some sort of live oak, I believe. The Cascade hop has a notable piney flavor in pale ales and IPAs, and so this probably has Cascade or other hop that starts with the letter C, like Centennial or Chinook or who knows what.
Okay. Shall we?
Okay. It's got plaid.
Yes, very festive.
Okay. So first of all, you can tell me how bitter you expect it to be,
well,
and how bitter it is.
It's quite dark. I would expect, I don't know, generally the darker the beer, I feel like the less bitter it is in general. But we'll see. That's bitter. That's hoppier than I was expecting.
It's very fine to me. It's not nearly as bitter as I was afraid it would be. So it has a lot of toasty type flavor to it. It's very light and crisp, actually, in spite of how it looks.
I feel like Rhinegeist, a lot of their beers edge on the hoppier than...
They definitely do. That's what I was afraid we would get from our Oktoberfest tasting. That was quite a hoppy Oktoberfest. But this is a very nice balance. So nothing overwhelming, nothing super strong. You could drink this in the summer.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not like particularly whacking you over the head with spices and stuff.
That winter warmers don't have to be strong. So 6% is what Samuel Smith's famous winter welcome strong ale is.
What's this one? Not a very, it's 6 or?
Let's see. I'm sure it's
6.
6. Yep. Yeah, that's very traditional type of level. We're going to have some that are quite a bit stronger than that. So there's a little bit of probably roast barley in there, but very, very little, but it's a very strong flavor. So it kind of helps to dry out the finish. This one here, which is Old Jubilation from Avery. I can't get Avery in Alabama, so I'm happy to get it up here. A lot of the names of the beers invoke winter in some way, and it's very common to have a name like Accumulation by New Belgium or Jubilation, or somehow mention Christmas in the title. So the Asian, so any name with Asian at the end is probably a good chance of being a Christmas ale.
It says cheerful, festive, and traditional.
Traditional. Okay, well, that's probably not spiced.
Okay, all right.
Because the tradition in England is unspiced.
It says English style old ale, classic winter warmer.
Yeah, so it should be like Sam Smith's.
All right. See
Again,
what
the
we
same
got.
color, a little darker.
Okay.
Probably a little stronger too.
Give it a. This smells maltier.
Yeah. 8.3%.
This is more my speed.
Yeah, this is not hoppy. The hops they would use would be some traditional English hops, like Fuggles or East Kent Golding or something like that. They may mention what those are, but we'll have to look and see.
My taste skews more to the maltier, less hoppy beers, so this is more my speed if that's kind of what you're into.
This is almost like a Scotch ale in some ways.
Yeah.
Let's see what they say about what's in here. They use honey malt that gives it a little sweetness.
Okay.
Munich gives it a little flavor. Chocolate, black patent, probably. They say black, it's probably black patent. They don't mention the type of hops.
Honey and chocolate. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, honey malt contributes a honey-like sweetness without having it fermented away by the yeast like normal sugar would be.
That's tasty.
Mm-hmm.
That's my front runner.
Very well fermented.
Yep.
So not a lot of fruitiness from the fermentation. Now we have Jubelale. So you can see it's almost the same word, jubilation, jubel. So there's actually a brewery called Jubel in Germany that makes a kind of a malty beer.
Is that where this is from, Germany?
No, this is Oregon, Deschutes from Bend, Oregon, I believe.
Okay.
This was actually founded by a biochemist.
Oh, your people.
That's right. So this is one of the older breweries on the West Coast.
Okay.
Very well known.
All right. It's a very kind of futuristic looking
Art.
art. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh yes, they have a different label every year from the
Okay.
art, and they feature different artists every year. So if you go to the website for Deschutes, you'll see a little story about the artist. I can't remember the artist's name, but I believe it's some Hispanic band. Cheers.
Cheers.
I can smell a little sweetness on
I was
this.
going to say this one smells similar to the Avery.
A little fruitier. It's a little bit more of an astringent finish on there.
Yeah.
It has a bit more of that roast barley in it. So it's kind of it's a sweet up front
A little pucker or a little.
and then a little bit
bite.
of
Yeah.
kind of a drying effect on the sides of the tongue after. There's probably some hops in there hiding as well.
Yeah.
So this may not be to your taste.
Well, that's it. But you're right. It's the very first sip is you're like, oh, okay, and then it's kind of
It's getting more bitter as you go along.
whaps you at the end
Sorry.
with the more hoppy
Yeah, it's
kick.
definitely bitter at the very, very end. So I was picking up kind of mid or toward the end that roastiness, but even a little bit of the hop bitterness and the roast bitterness kind of combined to give it a very sharp.
Yeah, I feel like that bitter, the hoppiness is lingering. Like even right now,
It does.
I can still feel the.
Have a piece of fruit cake.
Man, that's got that.
This is
afterbite.
one you could probably age a bit. That
What?
bitterness might drop out.
Okay. So if you get a 6-pack and it's a little too bitter for your taste, throw it back in the back of the closet for a year and see what happens next year.
Right. Temperature control. The rest of them are going to be spiced. So
like
the spices that What spices do you think of when you think about Christmas?
Nutmeg, cinnamon, all those kind of warmer spices.
Clove.
Clove, yeah.
But cinnamon's super common. So clove, maybe a little bit. You have to be careful with clove. You can overdo it. And the clove phenolic flavor can kind of clash a little bit sometimes. So you have to be very careful with it. Cinnamon's very common.
It's like the star anise or something.
Star anise, yeah. Ginger, coriander, all sorts of things.
Okay.
Now this one I know is a year old because I bought it last year. This is a Cincinnati brewery called Taft's, named after the ex-president and Supreme Court Chief Justice. So I could have passed this off as this year's version, but it has a different can art on it. So this is Christmas Cookie Ale. All right, so I have brewed a beer called Oatmeal Cookie Amber. It tastes like an oatmeal cookie, has all the spices. We'll see what we get here. Cinnamon, ginger, and vanilla. Vanilla you have to be careful with because you can overwhelm a beer with vanilla. It's a very strong flavor. It looks a little darker than the rest.
Smells barley? Is that the barley smell?
Maybe. So I don't smell the spices, but again, it's been a year, so.
So that's the one where you're saying the spices might drop out
And they probably have.
after. Still tastes good.
Still tastes good, but I would say probably not nearly as spicy as it once was. Particularly ginger. Ginger doesn't hang around much. I do get some of the vanilla from it.
Yeah, it got like a little more sweetness than the others might have.
Not that much though.
Not overwhelming sweetness, just like a little, there's a whiff there, whereas some of the other ones didn't have any.
6.2%. Oh well. Should have drank them last year. The spice levels did drop out a bit. Yeah, fine beer, but I think the spice is not what it once was.
Yeah, just almost a little uncomplicated, just kind of probably not as interesting as it once was. So we didn't do Taft's justice. Sorry, Taft's.
So this is Victory from Pennsylvania. They make a really good triple called Golden Monkey. And then they make variations on that with monkey in the name, so they make Sour Monkey. And this is
I think I've had the Golden Monkey.
Merry Monkey. Yeah, the Golden Monkey.
Yeah.
It's a straight up Belgian triple with spices.
I think I've had that.
So this will be a triple with spices, but other spices as well. So it has cranberry in it. So cranberry is associated with Christmas in many ways. And what else? Orange peel,
Cinnamon, nutmeg.
cinnamon, and nutmeg. So the orange peel is a classic flavor you might find in a Belgian triple, perhaps. More likely in a wit. But we will see how, and this is not from last year.
Current year.
Current year.
Current model.
Okay. All these colors have been very, very similar.
Yeah.
So when we say dark, we're not talking about stouts here.
No, ambery, or well, brown, I guess.
Roasted malted barley, that's a little different.
It smells good.
You can definitely smell a little bit. Yeah, the nutmeg. Did it say cinnamon? Yeah, cinnamon, yeah.
That's tasty. I like that.
Fairly similar to their triple, but just enough, quite a bit different as far as the malt, you know, caramel. There's some caramel type flavors, and then of course the spices. I don't really pick up the cranberry.
I can't pick out any certain one flavor, but
Nope.
it's
Well, that's the best kind of spice blend. Is where you don't really say, "Oh, that's a lot of cinnamon."
just a little bit of warmth tingling That's must be, I don't know, I assume it's the cinnamon.
I think it must be about the same strength. No, actually,
10.
it's stronger. A little stronger than their triple, which is about 9.
I'm biased towards the Belgians, but I like this one.
Yeah.
I like this one.
You wouldn't know this was 10%.
No, it's just the dangerous beer.
Golden Monkey is dangerous. It's a nice picture of a monkey.
I like that.
Kind of looks like the monkey in Gorillas.
Yeah, the band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The cranberry blends in there. So if you were afraid of drinking a cranberry beer, and this is, don't worry about it.
None of the flavors jump out and slap you in the face.
All right, so Old Fezziwig is something you get in their mixed case every winter. And it is a spiced beer. And we will see what we taste.
This is 1 year old.
Oh, this is a year old. Okay, well, we'll see.
Old.
You didn't have to say that.
Well, but
I know.
Disclaimer. If
Disclaimer.
Some of the flavor's gone or whatever.
I forgot it was a year old.
I feel like we have to do informed consent, you know, make sure people know what they're.
Well,
what
we'll see how the spice held up. Man, same color. You can definitely smell.
Yeah, it still has a. Was that the barley or malt?
Some of the spices too. I don't know what spices they put in there, but as far as I know, they don't change the recipe. Some of that box, some of my friends think that's what they think is the best one in there.
Yeah.
Not bad. I wouldn't age. Age is more than a year though.
Yeah.
The best ones for aging would be this very, very strong ones.
Yeah, the low.
But even then, not particularly.
Yeah. This, but it still has that, I don't know, I'd say malty. This is kind of what comes across as the main.
Yeah, I mean maybe a little cinnamon, a little chocolate malt in there. Dark caramel, sweet toffee. That's pretty accurate. They don't say what spices are in there.
Yeah.
But they're pretty minimal. So we have 2 beers we're not going to.
No, honorable mentions, but we have a lot of beer to drink here. So we got to save some for Christmas.
We have the original Sam Smith's Winter Welcome. This kind of embodies the category. We would have opened this, except the bottle's even bigger than the rest of them.
Yeah, it's a pint, isn't it?
This is 500 mils, I bet you.
It won a little over a pint.
And this other one, which we managed to get a hold of, this one's even stronger. This is 12%. This is still knocked. I do want to talk about the brewery, though.
I was going to say, this is a Belgian. Are you holding out on me?
It is a Belgian.
You're holding out on me.
It is a strong golden ale. The Dahl Brewery is founded by a couple of brothers.
Okay.
If you go, I think they only have tours on the weekends. You could arrange a tour, I guess, during the week, but it's not like a huge brewery, but it's very well respected.
Okay.
So they're more famous for their Oer beer, O-E-R beer. It's been a long time since I had Still Knocked.
Okay.
But
This
you
one
can tell
was-
from the label it's meant for Christmas.
Both of them were hard to get a hold of, actually. So, my personal, if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably pick the Victory, but that's kind of me being biased towards the Belgian flair.
I like the Old Jubilation best.
Old Jubilation.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.